If you're driving at dawn or dusk, it's not good.
At least ducks try. Make it easy for you. They're like, we're all in a line.
And they're so cute.
They're so cute.
They're so cute. Good, strong start
So,
for
yeah,
us.
anyways,
Yes.
hope's fine.
So sorry.
Thank you for the hour of time. I went for a nice little walk. And also, if I'd been pissed off, I would have been like, whatever, see you later. So I didn't do that.
Just would like to believe that about you. But I'm getting real eldest daughter people pleaser vibes from you.
It's true.
Okay, great.
Maybe it's all done.
But I'm not leaving in case the person I'm mad at thinks badly of me.
I can't leave.
My whole life is worried about people I don't even like thinking badly about me. Like, why?
Yeah.
Don't worry, once you hit my age, that drops. That's been the greatest thing about 46.
Slowly dropping. I'm 38 and it is slowly dropping where I can, like, I don't say no, but I can say, like, no. Yeah, so I think it'll only improve.
You will get to fuck no.
Yeah.
Up close to 45. I promise. Now, you are here for Comedy Festival, but you sold out.
I am
Sorry.
sold out. It's just so lovely.
It's fucking amazing.
It's really lovely. It does feel a bit dumb, you know, like you're supposed to do festival properly, like you're supposed to, like, room, and then once you fill it, you're supposed to, like, add extra shows and stuff. But I've been on tour, and I was like, I want a small, manageable, lovely time that where it's not extra shows and, like, bigger rooms and stuff, and so it's not really small and lovely and that.
I mean, it should be fine. No, it's like, you own that. You say, yeah, I only sold out my entire Comedy Festival run.
I did.
Yeah, say it.
I did.
Say it. Say it.
I did. I sold it out, and it was cool.
Yes.
And I get to just say that.
Thanks.
But yeah, I don't know.
My sound effects board is not on. For her.
Was it a clap? Was it a clap?
No, it was good for her. Lucille Bluth from Arrested Development.
Oh, love her.
Same good for her.
Want
Yeah.
to be her.
She's my old age. I'm off mic. So I think for me, I'm going to think about the first time I came across you, I was defending you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'd started seeing your clips online,
Yes.
and then I was like, oh, she's Australian.
Yes.
Amazing. Because I assumed you were from London.
Yeah, I have a very confusing accent that I feel the need to apologise for.
No, don't.
But then I apologise for everything all the time.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I have a really weird accent because English is my second language, but I learned it really young. I learned it in a British school run by nuns in
That makes
Dubai.
sense.
So it was all very confusing. Yeah,
Sorry, that's a
see?
sentence.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
You learned English. Say it again.
So I learned English in a British school run by nuns in Dubai. So everyone's accent was all over the place. There was no one way
Like
to
Nicole
speak.
Kidman.
It was nuts.
Transatlantic.
Oh, that's such a nice comparator. Yes, to the very tall, very attractive, very successful and famous Nicole Kidman. Exactly like that.
Same. I often think to myself, is that Sashi or Nicole? I say it all the time. God, I don't even know. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But I saw you did. I know that you made a conscious decision to. I will have said this in your very fancy intro, but you were a human rights lawyer. You were helping refugees find out if they. You can probably tell better than I can from the job. If they did, get
Could stay or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is grim and brutal
It was grim and
to
brutal.
decide people's futures. And you were in your 20s.
Yes.
It's a lot.
It was a lot.
Still deciding your future.
Didn't like it. Didn't like it. I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have this kind of authority. Don't like it.
But you work for the UN.
I did.
You weren't doing it for like Bob's Backyard Lawyers.
I wasn't. That would be weird if you could decide those kinds of things in Bob's backyard.
It's true.
Yeah.
Lots of bad stuff goes down in Bob's backyard.
I think that's why it was a weird switch because I started in Perth when you were on 92.9.
Yes, we
we
were
figured
both
this
in
out.
Perth.
We figured this out.
Mhm.
And then I was was working as an immigration lawyer specializing in refugee law there, so kind of advocating for clients and doing their decision, like working on their
Stop
cases.
the boats era?
No, this was who was in power?
I feel like Rudd was in
I
for a while.
actually was very lucky. I started with Labour 07. Like, that's when I finished law school. Kevin 07, Labour 07, Labour 07, Kevin 07.
Yeah.
I was very lucky because I started in that time when there was a lot of hope, you know, like the offshore detention centres were closing. That was the whole thing. And there was a lot of excitement that things would change. And so I started then. I graduated in 09 and was working for like 3 years in WA. That was exciting. And then I started working for the UN, and my role just kind of completely switched, where I went from advocating for clients, for getting them to stay in the country, to actually making the decision of whether or not they were a refugee and taking on asylum applications and stuff. That was difficult.
I mean, how you
for
sleep?
UNHCR.
You're not sleeping.
I started not sleeping. This is what I've been writing about, and I started not sleeping because I didn't really like it. But I was like, but this is the thing that I'm doing. I'm working for the UN. This is what I wanted. But I was away from my family and my friends and my fiance at the time, and it was all like late 20s, and you don't get to complain about it because, you know, as if you've even had a hard life compared to the cases that you're working on. So it was all just quite a confusing little time. Yeah.
Were you dabbling with comedy at all while you were lawyering?
Nothing.
Not a lot of great material in deciding if someone...
Nothing.
Not like gags.
No, not a lot of gags. You can't gag about it. I still don't gag about that.
No, you
know?
don't.
You can't, and I never will, but I can gag about the systems.
100%.
I can gag about the systems. I can gag about the countries that I worked in. I can gag about myself a lot.
That's probably safest.
That's
I find.
the safest.
Yeah, that's what I do a lot of.
Yeah, but I was watching a lot of comedy when I couldn't sleep.
What were you
know?
watching? Oh, I love this. That's what was keeping you company.
Ah, man. Yeah, because I was working first in, the first time I worked for the UN was in Turkey. So, I was, later and later, I was really struggling to sleep, and I didn't, link it to mental health. I wasn't checked into it at the time. And I was just like, I just can't sleep. I guess I just don't sleep now. That's fine.
I'm fine.
That seems fine.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
normal.
jet lag.
Totally. It's really busy.
6 months in. How long does that? How long does that
rhythm of the What's going on?
How long does that stuff stick around for?
Yeah.
No one's tested it before.
I blame low iron. That's what I blame everything on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I blame anemic.
Yeah. I didn't even know to check all this stuff back in the day, I was watching a lot of New Girl. Love New Girl. I know that a lot of stuff has been said about Friends, but that is my go-to. I will watch those guys be idiots until I die.
Yeah.
I think, even though they're like, Friends is actually really problematic. I'm like, everything's problematic.
It actually
if you
is.
look at you can't. It's just let me have this one.
Yeah,
let me have
Seinfeld.
Friends. I'm keeping Friends.
So Seinfeld was my everyday comfort. That's kind of how I learned comedy, was watching Elaine.
Yeah.
Watching her.
I feel like all of the comedy kids in Melbourne grew up on Seinfeld, and then that makes me feel really bad because I thought everyone on it was really unattractive. I couldn't deal with it.
I get it. I get your friends appeal over
I was like,
Seinfeld.
my friend is so pretty. Rachel's so pretty. You see, Rachel's hair is so shiny. Real shiny.
So that you were watching that. So when did you start? When did you think, I'm going to try comedy?
Everything melted down for me. I was supposed to get married, and then I didn't, and then I tried. I was like, that's okay. I am an independent woman. I will keep doing contracts with the UN and working around the world. And then I was like, I need to change. Came to Melbourne to do my masters in law, and I was only supposed to be here for a year and then go back. But then they'll ask backwards into comedy.
How?
Love
I
the
don't
city.
understand.
The pickup
I
point.
don't know, have you ever been? I'm
You
sure
arrive
you
near the
have been
pickup
in a
point.
phase of your life where you just try everything. I was living in a 7-person share house in Brunswick East. loving
My entire
it.
career is me trying something.
Exactly. So I like started going to music festivals and meeting people all around Melbourne who are doing all of these different things. And anytime someone told me to do anything, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that sounds fun. So it was like, do you want to go to a ska punk gig at 2 a.m? And I'd be like, hell yeah.
Oh, so you're ADHD.
Yeah, very much. My brother has been diagnosed, and Dad definitely should have been diagnosed. I started down the parts. I feel bad saying that I do have it. Do you know what I mean? Because
self-diagnosing is very valid.
Oh, totally.
So fine. You're fine. As the person who invented ADHD in this country,
Great.
I'm bestowing upon you the right
Thank
to
you so
reflect.
much. I appreciate
Have
it.
I outed you? Are you okay with me saying that? We can edit it.
No,
You're
no,
right.
I'm really, because